Well, good morning. Today is final assembly, and I'm glad you've been sticking with me on this. Today we'll take the side panels, put them on the front panels, and get all those wine rack sticks put in place. Finish is just about done. I got a touch left to do on the top, but that's going to be the end of it. And then we will get both prototype and the piece that we've been working on side by side. So I appreciate you sticking with me. I'm getting ready to head out to the garage and finish this one up. So come on, let's get started. Welcome to Roby's Garage Workshop, featuring the craftsmanship of Roby Price. Wine Rack End Table, Part 5, Final Assembly. All right, we're ready for a little assembly here, and what I want to do is I want to get these outside edges done first, primarily because I don't want to put a clamp, a good sized clamp like this, on the outside with the leg here. But I don't want to put these on because by the time I next dip, when I get these three outsides and these outsides in place, I want to put the ends on, and that may give me a little bit of a shift. Not much, because I've got my square here to help me line things up. So I will do these three, turn it over, do the next three, and then I will take my side bends and assemble those. And at that point, we've got the base pretty much put together. So I have a set of Q-tips right here, and you can see I've got one here already. This is just put in with finger pressure, and that may be all you need. I have a clamp here ready to go. I like these wood clamps because it gives me a much wider area. And I have poplar spacings. Oak is a lot harder than poplar, so it's not likely that I'm going to damage the wood. So let's get one of them started, and this is a we're going to start with this one over here while this one holds up our section. We'll come back to him in a minute, and all I want to do is put just a touch of glue right there in the dowel hole. Turn him around a little bit. That's good. So he's coated. Remember, all the weight's going to be down. And unless you throw this piece off a truck, you're not likely to knock these out of place. I think you would really have to try. So that one is in. This one's going to come up a little bit. There we go. That one is in. And as I said, finger tight's enough. So we've got one. We'll do this one and this one. As I said, turn him over, and we'll be back with this in just a minute. Three. Well, I've moved the base in, and I'm looking at my symbols right here, and this is the side that floats over top of this, and we're getting ready to put him in place. I will put some glue in these mortises and tenons and soak them up pretty good. I will not put glue on the tenons, just the mortises. I don't want any squeeze out. So I've got my Q-tips right here, and it's as simple as just loading it up. As a matter of fact, I probably should have gotten some brushes. That would have been better. I can make do with the toothpicks. Every one of these is a little deeper than it needs to be, so I am not worried about fighting the slot to get this in place. What I am a little concerned about, and I did a very, very preliminary fit up just a second ago, is how well my dimensional checks were. And if you're off on your wine holder sticks, one of the things that you will notice is that the alignment of your mortises is off with your tenons. So I'm very interested to see how this all plays out. Now there will be a little bit of fight, and I've got some persuasion right here these are tight, and I knew they were tight early on because I did a little fit up before I ever put any finish on this, telling myself that this was a good tight joint, exactly what you want. Not real good for camera, because every time you see me fight with something, you think I haven't done it right. Alright, that's pretty good. Try not to leave too much of that behind. I am going to clean this up with a finger. Alright. Again, we may need a little persuasion, but that's okay. I'm going to sink one there, one here. We'll rotate. And we're about in the right place. That gets a tap. Tap. Alright, now we start to get into where we may need a little persuasion. Not much there. It's all over here. And there we go. Okay. Oh yeah, those are all driven home. Very nice. Couldn't be happier. I'm going to go get the top piece. We'll put him on. We'll stand it up, and then we can finish these. This is going together very well. Well, okay, here we are. We've got the center sticks to go yet. Everything's fitting up. Everything's fitting up surprisingly well. I couldn't be happier. This is great. And I will go ahead and put those in place now. I won't put you through that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to come around back there. I'm a one-man shop here. I'm going to zoom the camera in so you can see this. And I will do that in a separate scene. But you can start to get a feel for the size of the piece and the different feel it has because of the finish. It's the same piece, but it has a different feel to it. And you can see that the wood selection here in the corbels, the feet, the legs, the front face frames, it's all starting to come together. Wood selection is key. So give me a minute and I will zoom in on this and give you a better look at what we've got here. Well, you can see it really came together. It always amazes me when the last few pieces go on how much difference it makes. I took special effort on this piece to make sure that all these ends were cut from the shooting plane. That gave a very crisp edge to it. Not only that, I didn't have to sand it, at least until the first couple of coats of finish were on, because that plane iron, it does a perfect cut. And unless you've got a scratch in your plane iron, you will get a really good clean surface. The only woodworking left to do on this piece right here is to take a Forstner bit and cut a few holes in the top for the figure eights. Now these figure eights are designed to slide back and forth a bit because the top will expand and contract, whereas this frame right here will not. So I'll do that sideline, and we'll focus on the last coat of finish on the top, because it's just about ready to get there. Well, I've got my duds back on because I'm getting ready to do a little bit of finishing work and I don't want to ruin anything nice. Here it is, and you can see the shine. It is mirror reflective, and that's not what we want. So this next coat that goes on will be a satin. But before we put anything on here, we need it to stick. So we got to rough up the edges a bit. And I like to put them on these pads. These pads like to stick because, as you can tell, this is the same gloss finish on the bottom. It doesn't bother me to keep that on there. I'm not going to take the time to redo that side. This is already 2 coats here. It's already 2 coats on top, but I need the satin. I like to buff the edges first, and I like to stay pretty much in the middle. Don't get very close to the edges. You do have to hit them just a little bit, but make sure you're square. You cut through those edges real fast, and it will ruin your day because then the color changes. After we do that, I like to get the top, one of these pads, And I like to just gently move it back and forth with the grain. And you are going to want to see dust build up. That is just the fact of the matter. You want to take it down. And after you get enough of that built up, I'll take a rag and I'll knock the rest of it off. I'll blow it off with a layer. And then you go on with your finish. So bear with me while I do this, and we'll catch up again here in a minute. All right, we're all buffed out, and I have taken a lot of time to get the dust off. It still looks pretty shiny. I've got my foam brush, and this puts it on pretty heavy, a little heavier than I like, so I'll be dragging a little bit more than I like as well. Too much friction on this will give you streaks, so be careful. I have taken the time to move my finish to a container and put it on. And it helps to have a raking light on it. Take your time, because even this first stroke, the load on the brush disappeared before it reached the end. Move your head around and make sure that you see everything. I know it's early in the process to be getting the edge, but this is the first edge. So I'm going to get him now. Make sure that it doesn't dry improperly. Now keep in mind, this is the top and this is what we see. It's a relatively low table. So I'll take a clean rag and just touch the bottom right there. And there isn't hardly a drip, which probably tells me I need to hit that again. You don't want to go over this stuff too many times. There we go. Keep that wet edge. If it dries out, you're going to have a problem, because that is when it really will streak. All right. I think you've probably got the idea. Better to have more load than not enough. Ooze it down. Do not leave any holidays. I think you've got the idea. I think the next time we get together will be final assembly. While you weren't looking, I got the final coat of finish on the table, and it looks great. And now it's time to put the table on. We're going to use something, and I alluded to this previously. We're going to use figure eights. And these things, they're great. They will sit right here in a recess that I've already cut with a mortising bit. And as the wood expands this direction and back and forth, they will actually move a bit. And that will keep the wood from cracking and keep the stress on the joint really low. I also like the fact that the screws are all under 3/4, because, sure as you know, you can drill through the top. And typically, I would pre-drill these things, and in this piece, that's not a problem. But I am not going to pre-drill them in the top for fear of going through the wood. And it is as simple as just drilling them in place. There is a top and a bottom to them, and they are recessed slightly to receive the screw. So put these 4 on, turn him over, mount the top, and we're done. Well, another chapter done, and so is our second table. And didn't it turn out nice? This is a warm Aurora brown finish, and I couldn't be happier with it. The wood choice, it makes everything work. The top has the best boards with the most fleck, but I did make sure that the legs and the front face got every bit as much attention, and it dazzles. The mortise and tenon joint, the through mortise, is a little bit larger on this one, and I think I like this better. The side slats, although you can't see them in this particular shot, are much narrower and closer together. And while it looks elegant, it's a little more difficult to finish. So keep that in mind. We're a little bit larger on this one, on the side slats, and it was easier to finish. On the second one, I love the assembly technique where we put all the wine rack sticks in last. It made it much easier to finish, went very much quicker. Although the finish on this one is also as dazzling. A deep chocolate mission brown, and it is something else as well. We'll be taking photos of these and you'll see them both in the end credits. If you're interested in building this project, I do have a full set of plans, and you can build from those plans because I built these from those plans. I also have the recipe that you heard me referring to for the finish, and that is available, and we'll talk price at the end of the show. Also, these are for sale. So if you like these or something else, let me know. This is a versatile design. It can be adapted any number of different ways. You don't have to have a wine rack here. You can have a shelf on the bottom and a drawer on top. Or if you want a bedroom end table or nightstand, you can have 3 drawers. This particular size lends itself to a host of different purposes, and having this in your house would make it all the better. So I hope you'll join us in Roby's Garage Workshop for our next project. I look forward to seeing you.